Yes, once again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and to some of you, good night, fellow Biafrans, lovers of freedom, men and women of goodwill, conscious people wherever you are all over the world. I say, you're welcome to Radio Biafra Extra. Radio Biafra is being anchored by the Deputy Leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra. His name is Mazi Nnamdi. Mazi Nnamdi is from Abatete. Abatete is in Anambra State. And Anambra State is Biafra land. Mazi Nnamdi is the man who have assured us that he will not allow the heart of this project to see corruption. Of course, he's standing in a deputizing capacity on behalf of our Supreme Leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the King of Afaribeku, the one and the only man who stood up to speak for the collective interests of the Biafran people for almost 60 years. Afaribeku is in Umuahia. Umuahia is in Abia State, and Abia State is Biafra land. And by the grace of Chukwukikabiama, I remain George ONYEIB. I am from Abo. Abo is in Delta State, and Delta State is Biafra land. Of course, considering the fact that we are wrestling against flesh and blood, against principalities and power, against wicked spirit in the heavenly places, against flesh and blood, friends and enemy, against saboteurs, against British government, against ignorant one Nigeria. We can only rely on the arm of faith as the Creator Himself lead us on this path that we must follow. I will humble myself before Him this morning as always and acknowledge Him. For in the end, we are gone without Him as a people. Anyị na-ajage mma maka n'eziokwu n'ịmara mma ịhụnanya anyị na-ake obiọma gị o juru anya dadi o inwege mgbanwe ọ dị onye dịka gị ịbụ Alpha na Omega. Anyị niile na-asị na n'ịdị mma ise. This morning, I want to first of all remind us that we are Biafrans. And being a Biafran is a bit of interesting, I must tell you. Because Biafrans are the only people who are not fighting anybody, but almost everybody is fighting us. Biafrans are the if they need it. But we are the ones, a lot of people in the world are coming to take our land. Biafrans are the only people, they force into one united, one Nigeria. But yet, every dollar they made from the resources stolen from our land is actually sponsored to divide us. Biafrans are the only people who will bring out knife and kill IPOB member because they don't even know what they are doing for themselves. Biafrans are people who tell you, no, we are happy being in divided Niger Delta. In Biafra land, we are happy divided, but in united Nigeria, we are one. Biafrans are the people who owns the resources that empower most of the countries in the world. Whether Europe, America, any continent of the world, there is no country in the world that will swear that they are not stealing from Biafra. No country, I must assure you. But do you know in Biafra land we don't have drinking water? Do you know in Biafra land we do not have tide road? Do you know in Biafra land even the generator, electricity light we use, they are trying to take it from us, but yet we are still here. I will say Biafrans are the most endangered species of Homo sapien here on earth. But believe me, we were here before they came. We will be here after they are long gone because nobody can stop Biafra. But in case you are a Biafran, you do not understand what it means to be a Biafran, let me remind you again that Biafrans are the only people who align the Bible prophecy. Biafra is the only people whose life, culture, and tradition is like what is written in the Bible. I can assure you, not even Israel in the Middle East. Biafrans are the only people, when you mention their name, everybody is afraid. But we don't know why. And so at this moment, the only thing we know is that we are trapped in a prison created by British government called Nigeria. And it is our intention to be free because we have not committed any crime against anybody. heinous crime have been committed against us as a people. But yet here we are. There will be no justice for us. They will never be fair to us. But believe me, we will make them show respect. It's just a matter of time. Without wasting much of our time, I will be going back to our leader broadcast tomorrow. Of course, most especially for the privilege, opportunity for those who were not able to access it yesterday to be able to have access with it. To it.
People, great Biafrans, wherever you are on the face of this very planet, we welcome you to another exciting edition of Radio Biafra live transmission, uninterrupted, on this very day, Sunday, the 15th day of March in the year of our Elohim 2020, with the time now standing at approximately 9 minutes past the top of the hour in Biafra land, 9 minutes past the top of the hour, regardless of where you are, we welcome you. We say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to some of you. Regardless of where you are domiciled, we are welcoming you. This is a Radio Biafra live transmission. The whole world is listening. Humanity is paying attention. The zoo is trembling. And the children of the Most High, the children of Biafra, they are rejoicing because they are about to receive the gospel of redemption, the gospel of salvation, the gospel of hope, the gospel of freedom, a gospel that is unquenchable, a gospel that is indestructible, a gospel that is ordained in heaven to be preached to the sons of men on this very earth, that all those who pay attention, all those who are enlightened enough to reason through everything that we say, that only those may be redeemed from the damnable theological republic, that very British colonial experiment, worse than coronavirus, worse than any man-made disease ever on this very earth. That is our job and we must do it. Some may not understand what we are doing. Our timetable may appear confusing to some people, but one thing is very obvious, one thing is unmistakable. This very fight to restore Biafra must be accomplished in our time, because we will not retreat an iota. We are not going to abandon this very effort. We are never ever going to surrender. For there will be Biafra or we all die getting Biafra. That is our mantra. It remains forever and ever. Our work is divine. Those who are in the flesh can never understand it. Those who are in the flesh cannot begin to comprehend this very divine work that we are doing. That is why we have obliterated the zoo. That is why anytime they know we are coming on air, they begin to panic. Each time they know we are coming, they begin to worry. Each time they know we are coming, they know that the date for the disintegration of this theological republic of Nigeria is ever, ever getting closer to us. Regardless of where you're listening from, Radio Biafra can be listened to across Biafra land on CHK 102.2, CHK 102.1, depending on where you every media platform known to man. This very IPOB, this very noble family, these chosen children of God, because if you're not IPOB, you cannot be a child of God, I assure you. You cannot be. My name is Nnamdi Kanu. I am the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. And by the very special grace of Elohim, the servant of the wonderful people of Biafra, we have come that light may be present where once there was only darkness. We have come to fulfill a divine purpose. That is why we must preach this very gospel this evening. That is why the whole world is at attention at this very moment. Learned people all over the world listening to this very broadcast, because this remains indisputably the greatest university on the face of this very earth. If you listen to Radio Biafra, you can never be the same again. If you partake in this very gospel, you will see the light. As always, we must pray. We must call upon the Most High, God Almighty that resideth in heaven, to come and take charge of our proceedings very evening. This very evening, because humanity is listening. If you do not have your pen and paper ready, if you have not informed your neighbors, your friends, and your family to participate in this very process of enlightenment this evening, then you have not done your job thoroughly. Because I challenge anyone to listen to Radio Biafra and remain the same after that. There are idiots all over the place. There are fools all over the place. They will continue to make a mockery of themselves. They will continue to prod us to see if we can respond to any of their garbage. But we are preoccupied with doing this very important work of the restoration of Biafra. We remain undistracted because we have the Janjaweed Fulani Caliphate in our sides, and it is an opportunity we are not going to miss. I welcome each and every one of you once again, and I say to Elohim, Lord God Almighty in heaven, the creator of everything that we see around us, you existed before the commencement of time and space itself. That is why we say you are the Lord of all the hosts of heaven. That is why we say you are the ancient. Why you change it not has remained him until this very day. You are Lord God Almighty, the author and the finisher of our faith. We submit before your throne of grace this very evening. As I know that barely 4 weeks ago, my parents were committed to the Mother Earth, that they may reside beside thee, and ask and plead for Biafra to be restored in the time of their children. We call upon thee to have mercy upon us, to forgive us our sins, to redeem Biafra from the hands of darkness and iniquity, to allow Britain to see common sense and let your children go, or else Egypt shall be the portion of Britain if they do not allow Biafra to go. They are doing the best they can to marginalize. They are doing the best they can to whitewash every news that is coming out of Biafra land. They have bribed, they have intimidated, they have cajoled, and they continue to do the world at every place, at every station, where they know that the story of Biafra must be told. They are there, doing what they have always done, trying to bribe people not to report Biafra, doing their damned best to see if they can stop IPOB. But due to your grace, O Heavenly Father, we have remained indestructible. We have grown from strength to strength every day. You see what is happening to your children. You have seen the mistake that Azikiwe did. You have seen the foolishness of the Fulefu class in Abuja and in Lagos. You have seen the imposition of Janjaweed slaves in our land, especially in Imo State. You can see the blood of your children being spilled in Ebonyi State. You can see what is happening in Benue. You are aware of the plight of Biafrans in Delta. Only thee is knowledgeable about what your children are passing through at this very critical period in our history. Therefore, we ask you, Heavenly Lord, to hear our cry and come to our mercy, because all honor and glory is yours. It doesn't belong to us. Everything that we do is at your direction from heaven itself. We have no strength. We have no power. Sometimes courage deserts us, but you continue to renew us with hope every blessed day, that these very fights to bring down your kingdom from heaven to this very earth, in the center of the universe itself, in the center of Biafra, is that which you ordained and that which must come to pass in our time. Therefore, I ask you, Lord God in heaven, to have mercy upon your children. To give us the grace, the wisdom, the fortitude, the intelligence, the understanding, to assimilate that the message, this very message you give to us continually, that in the end our enemies may flee and Biafra will come. We shall rebuild your temple at Harochukwu that the Vandals destroyed, that your name, O Elohim, will be praised, adored, worshipped, revered forever and ever, we pray. He say. This evening we preach this very gospel as vindication of everything we have ever said. From the beginning we have said it, and we have continued to say it, that Biafra must be restored, that there is no basis. I repeat, there are no basis typical African, full of self-deprecation, hate, and inferiority complex. That the world may know how foolish I wouldn't say some of us, some of you are. Those of you that believe in one Nigeria, I want to demonstrate your foolishness before the whole world, that the world may know how daft you are. You cannot reason. Those that fly green, white, green flag, you are daft. You cannot reason. You are mentally retarded. You are poor in your reasoning capacity. That is why you're suffering. Imagine should coronavirus enter the zoo with the rate of mortality and infection, what is going to happen in that damnable zoological republic? When I call Nigeria a zoo, I have justification and reason for that. When I say that everybody, if you call yourself a Nigerian, you're a fool, I want to prove it to you, not by what Nnamdi Kanu is saying, not what you hear on Radio Biafra. Confirmation from an American that lectured and tutored students at Oxford University Students' Union debate, so that you will listen and hear it. The reason why black people are suffering all over the world is because I keep saying it all the time. We do not reason properly. We don't. I give you a very simple example before I go into this very detailed analogy. Look at what is happening in the zoo. Look at the rate of destruction of lives and properties. Terrorists came in and we are killing people. They paid the Yoruba journalists to call them bandits and they call them bandits. And you all forgot that these are Fulani, well-trained terrorists. They're killing, slaughtering, maiming, and displacing communities. They came into a police state and attacked an outlying village. They said it's another Biafran community from Benue State that attacks them, which is a lie. The army are weaponizing, or should I say, arming the terrorists in Delta. No one is doing anything about it. Have you noticed how Nigerian newspapers and their television stations do not report the mayhem, the slaughter, and the killing going on in Biafra land? When Amotekun was formed, they were all over the place screaming and shouting. They forgot that the reason for Amotekun is to stop exactly what is happening in Biafra land today. They know we have limited resources. IPOB cannot be everywhere, in every village. Equipping them to the necessary level for them to mount any credible resistance to these hordes coming from the north. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Because people have a distorted understanding. People have a messed up view of what Nigeria is, and they are placing it. This evening, I want to prove it to you that that damnable zoological republic is the reason why you are dying. There is no other reason. I asked my white friends and I said to them before the British came, did we have this level of strife between, should I say, nationalities in that part of the world? The answer is no. Why do you think what is happening is happening? Do people actually pause to ask themselves, why are we in the mess we are in today? Do you actually prefer a solution out of it? Do you know what is happening and do you know the best way to come out of it? I am sure that 90% of Nigerians do not know. This evening we shall tutor you. Remember, there was a time that our sister, Madam Ero, and the IPOB family in the USA started to participate in US census that is going on. We educated people and enlightened them, told them how to complete the forms and to also, or should make sure they indicate that they're Biafrans. Do you know what the zoo did? As they always do, they went and paid some people and asked them to start advertising Nigeria. Let me play what the young man had to say, and then you will listen to the next clip that I will play after this. How he will be torn to pieces. It's only for those who can reason. This is somebody who was born in a place called Nigeria. He never asked we are not human beings? Do you see why they call us monkeys and baboons? Do you see why they insult us? Do you see why when they see black people abroad, they cover their noses? Do you see why when you go and look for a job abroad, they tell you, oh no, you're black, why don't you go back to your country? Do you see why there is discrimination? People complain about racism and discrimination as if somehow it is a natural phenomenon. No, it's not. We brought it upon ourselves because we have failed to reason. People may wonder, why am I saying all these things this evening? I'm saying it for the simple reason that we need to build a parameter upon which the debate around the disintegration of the zoo called Nigeria can be better understood. If we don't build all these parameters, you won't understand that that thought and idea of green, white, green you have in your brain is not only colonial, it is the very best way to showcase your stupidity and ignorance as a human being. I want to prove to everybody that says he or she is a Nigerian that by me harboring that thought, I am a Nigerian. I want to prove to you this evening that you're not worthy to be called a human being. You are saying that the life of your village, of your community never existed until Lugard came. That's what you're saying in essence. You are not, in other words, you are the creation of Frederick Lugard. That's what it means. You never ever existed before. You are nothing until they found you. I don't know if I'm making any sense to our people or not. I don't know if they are understanding it or not, because I want them to. Let me play to you what somebody did in America. So foolish, so shameless, so idiotic. And then you ask this person, all those that are defending one Nigeria, you ask them, who were you before the white man came? Does it mean you never existed before? This evening I want us to lecture those who do not know, that they may know. Listen to this very carefully, please. Listen to it.
It is now possible for Nigerians to be counted as a community in the U.S. Census, and that's a very big deal. I'm holding in my hand the 2020 census, which starts this April 1st. I'm asking you, please, if you're a Nigerian living in America, you have a blue passport, you have a green card, you intend to change status, you have already done so but you don't live in America at the moment, or your family member have done so but live abroad, meaning they're not living in the U.S. at the moment, please, very important, let's seize this opportunity to count. Page 2, number 9, page 3, number 7, page 4, number 7, page 5, number 7, page 6, number 7, page 7, number 7. Very important. Please fill that section out proudly as a Nigerian American, because in the democratic system, numbers matter. I do understand, in light of what's going on in the world today, the New World Order, this may seem trivial. But remember, we only have this opportunity once every 10 years to be counted, and that has never happened in the history of our migration to the United States. So please pass this message and let's make it work. Thanks.
He migrated to the USA, he said. He migrated from a place he calls Nigeria. Understand this very, very carefully. He said if you're a Nigerian, if you're proud of being a Nigerian and all that nonsense that goes with it. Why is he doing this? Because IPOB, they've gotten their intel, of course, which is intelligence, that IPOB is doing a very good job as getting people to identify as Biafran in the ongoing census in the USA. So they felt like paying this baboon to come out and say what he had to say. As people might say, oh, you insult him, why are you calling him a baboon? Because if you're a Nigerian, you're a baboon, you're very foolish. As I said earlier, a man left Hong Kong. They put him on a boat to come and stop the French advancement towards the Western advancement of the French forces. Because then France was in Dahomey, entering Badagry. Britain said, no, we can't allow this. Go and get land for us as well. Everybody is there scrambling. These monkeys are climbing down from the trees. They don't know what to do with their land. Let's go there and take it. They came to Africa and they took everything. Because of our behavior. Because we couldn't reason properly like human beings. foolishly I would say. There are some things I've been preaching on Radio Biafra for years. For years. I never knew that scholars in the Western world, I wouldn't say they were listening to Radio Biafra and to Ipob. But after listening to this very man, then you will know. You've listened to what the one Nigerian had to say. Now let me play for you what an American had to say. I wouldn't say in response to him because they were not responding to him. Let me play for you what an American said regarding the brain of black people in Africa. He's a black man, and I wanted to post it on my page and everywhere as a matter of course. You must let people listen, the greatest asset a human being has in life is the ability to reason. Not just to reason, to procreate, to go to work and to eat. The ability to reason things through and be able to transform your environment to serve your need and your purpose. That is why you have aeroplanes. That is why you have motor cars. That is why you have ships. Do you know how it came about? People reasoned beyond their immediate need of food, shelter, and clothing. They now knew that there are some metals and some alloys that occur in the ground you can put together. And you can get iron and steel. You can beat it into shapes and build an engine and the car will be driving. That's what white people have always done. Trying to they're always reasoning, mastering the environment, always reasoning. As they are busy trying to get a vaccine for coronavirus, most of you are intensely praying and saying to God, come and save us, without the necessary work needed to make that wish become a reality. This evening I'm asking you to reason. As a Nigerian, you have to reason tonight to understand where your problem is coming from, to understand why there are terrorists in Delta State killing people, to understand why Benue State has been decimated, to understand why the Middle Belt has been taken over by the Fulanis, to understand that Britain gave Nigeria to the Fulani people as a gift because they are daft. They cannot run a proper economy. They need people to control. They cannot control Biafrans. They said it openly. These people, they are too stubborn. We can't control them. Let us give it to people who are foolish. We'll get to Sanusi later on. Don't listen to what Sanusi said. Of course, he's a murderer. I don't like him very much. He killed Gideon Akaloka. Some of you have been salivating on what is happening in Kanu as if it's your business. I even saw some saying Sanusi for president. We'll get to that later. I want to underline the foolishness of your average Nigerian or anybody who believes in Nigeria. Anybody who believes in the artificial creation of colonial masters. Anybody who believes in the supremacy of Europeans over African knowledge and understanding. I want to prove it to you. This is not me. Listen very carefully, please. Listen very, very carefully.
From this parasite that bleeds Africa, that bleeds the world, that bleeds Afghanistan, that bleeds the people of Yemen who are dying by the thousands even as we have this discussion. This is the basis of a Brexit. It can't stand together anymore because the host is rejecting the parasite and is creating crisis throughout Europe and throughout the imperialist world. I think it's necessary, brothers and sisters, to say that there has been a natural trajectory by African people for closer union. We know that we're talking about having this discussion in part because in 1884-85, Europeans sat at a table in Berlin, Germany, not a single African there.
Are you listening? When they decided to create your zoo for you, it was done in Berlin. There was no single African there. How therefore can you say that Nigeria is an African country, an African nation, when no African was there at the table where they decimated you and turned you into what is in essence colonies for the imperialist masters? Are you listening to this very man? You need to listen to him. He is learned. He's an American, actually. He's not even an African. Of course, he's black. But he knows his history. That anybody with place, shouting one Nigeria. When the idea, the imperialist idea of carving up Africa into tiny, insignificant enclaves, or should I say economic interests of the West, no African was there. Where are you from? I'm a Nigerian, I'm an African. No, you were not there at the table when Nigeria was created. Why am I emphasizing this point this evening? For the world to understand. For you to understand that any time you open your mouth to say you're a Nigerian, you're a disgrace upon yourself. Let us listen to this man. He is not a Biafran. He's black, of course. He was giving this lecture at the very venerable Oxford University in England. Oxford. Not Usibanjo University in Ojueleba. That rubbish place. People going to school on the heap of rubbish on the spin. He was speaking and the white people were listening. You can't counter what is the truth. The Nigerian you're claiming I'm a Nigerian. If you're in the census in America, in registers in Nigeria, you are foolish. No African was there. They decided your future for you. You're running about. We Nigerians. Because of your stupidity. Let me finish and listen to this very beautiful lecture by this very intelligent man.
Africans there and carved up Africa into the territories that we now sometimes call countries and illogically refer to as nations.
Listen to what he says. All the countries they carved up is illogical to refer to Nigeria as a nation. It does not make any sense. It has no basis in logic. It is illogical. You see them, we have PhD, SSD, BBC, and other stupid degrees they have. Their brains are all empty. All empty. They go to the library, they plagiarize for days. They write an article, maybe in Guardian or Vanguard or some newspaper. You know they have written, and they go and chat rubbish. All empty brains, all of them. That's what this man is telling you. It is laughable to refer to the rubbish created in Africa as countries, and that includes Nigeria. It is a disgrace that you call it a nation. It's not me speaking. Listen to the proper, clean, crisp English language being spoken by this black American scholar educating students at Oxford University in England. Listen. Have clean water. He forgot the zoo. Do you have clean water in the zoo? You have borehole. So when Corona comes, you will just wipe out an entire town and villages around it. Are you listening to the man? The reason why there is economic backwardness in Africa, the reason why the Fulani people are killing all of you in the south and you're looking sheepishly as you're being slaughtered, you can't react, it's because of your one Nigeria. That's what the man is saying. He's saying here. No, you know those bad roads you complain. It's because of one Nigeria. When the Europeans were planning or designing your lives for you, they did not have your interest at heart. Understand it. You see, Asians grew. When the Asians emerged, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, China, all of them, they realized. I remember when the last colonial governor of Hong Kong, I think Chris Patton, was handing over to the Chinese, Hong Kong, in 1999. I remember very vividly. Do you know what the Chinese people said that day? That the 100 years of shame has come to an end. They didn't want to talk about it. They called it 100 years of shame. In Africa, you people are the only ones dancing and jumping up and down. When they left, Chinese, they were crying as if it's a whole Chinese empire that somebody came and took our land for 100 years. Do you see the way they reasoned? Are you now not surprised that they're doing very well? Considering that they went through the same rubbish that most of you in Africa went through, but they reasoned things out. Do you was part of Malaysia before. After the colonial master left Britain, they said we cannot stay together. Singapore is on its own, doing very well. Malaysia is on its own, doing exceptionally well. They're doing very well. Now you understand it, don't you? Do you see the difference between an African black man or woman and all other races around the world? Every other race can reason. We are the only people that have refused to reason. That's why you have a Jokuta steel mill that can make it possible for innocent to manufacture cars. It is lying there wasted and moribund. That is why you have 4 refineries with crude oil coming out of the ground. And somebody is somehow laughably trying to justify the importation of finished petroleum products imported from abroad. And you're telling me you're human beings? You're telling me you should be respected? You're telling me you should be regarded? You're telling me that people should look at you as some... No, of course you're nothing. You're an animal. Let's continue. We must listen to this lecture. No African was there. The reason why you're suffering in Africa is because you accepted the nonsense they gave you, like your useless one Nigeria.
That's true. We saw 100 years or so ago, Marcus Garvey organized the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities Leagues that stretched across the globe.
Marcus Garvey, for your information, was a Biafran, sold as a slave in America. A free man captured and sold as a slave in America. Marcus Garvey, if you do not know, we are the only people that have resisted colonialism. Only Biafran people. There are, no, in fact, in fairness, the Benin did as well. There are 3 people that, in the whole of Africa, 1, 2, 3, 4 people that fought imperialism. Biafran people, Benin people. You see Benin? They fought. Benin fought. The Kikuyus in Kenya, they fought. And the Zulus in South Africa, they fought. These are the 4 people that mounted any form of credible resistance to the march of the West. Not that there's, of course, Western civilization is very good. Education is wonderful, is great. But you should be able to do what Japan did, what China is now doing. You learn. You add it to your own values, and then you develop. That was why I took time to play these clips for you. It wasn't me saying it. Another person was debunking the myth, or should I say the ignorance, that somehow Nigeria is worthy to be put down on a piece of paper as where you come from. Nobody comes from Nigeria. No human being. Because you were not there when it was created. But of course, due to expediency, laziness, inability to rigorously probe any intellectual discourse, you will see them, they will say, oh yeah, I'm a Nigerian. If you ask them 2 questions, they cannot answer. 2 simple questions. What nationality was your grandfather? As where the issue where Shenika is, what nationality was your grandfather before the white man came? Or are you saying you were nobody until the white man came? They cannot answer. That's why I said, if I'm in a debate with them, they cannot last up to 5 minutes. I will destroy them. 5 minutes is they know nothing. You see them writing then their brains are empty. I'm not talking about Relation, of course he's a learned man, very intelligent, not him. But for those who carry the issue of one Nigeria on their head, like the very ignorant brother who in America saying, okay, we are Nigerians, you and who migrated to America? You and who? Where are you from? You and who? How many foreign people are in the USA? If not those that they sent there with stolen money, that the British encouraged them to steal. Some of you don't know. You're talking about corruption, all these Italians in prison, all these in prison. I am asking you, ask Abba Kyari and Mama Ndawara, how come the federal revenue account is empty? is by what Prophet Muhammad did in the Quran, in Medina. That's how they started their own law. Look at the aeroplane tunnel. You're telling me that people are not insane in a country founded on common law jurisprudence. Today you're practicing Sharia. A Sharia judge is your chief justice. And you're telling me people are okay. You are there, all of you can open your eyes and see the bombings going on, the destruction of all the Biafran markets in the north, especially those owned by Igbo people in the north, in the west. Even in our land, they are burning. Every day they are burning them down. All of you are looking like idiots from one place to the other, as if you've been hypnotized. So you don't know who people responsible for burning down your shops and your offices? Today there was a bomb explosion in Lagos, in a predominantly Igbo business district. Tomorrow you see them pretending, oh, we live in Lagos, so we are in Eko, we are in one Nigeria. And then when they hit you, you start crying and start complaining, going to IPOB to do something about it. All of you were there when BSS was formed. You were there, we formed. All of you were talking rubbish morning till night, talking pure nonsense. What is happening today, I ask you, is because of your zoo. Your so-called one zoo, one Nigeria. That is why you have news like this. Headsmen kill man, shoot daughter, abduct wife in Delta community. Not from us. From Guardian, these are people that hate Biafra. From Delta community. You see, let me tell you something. Anybody that actually followed very closely what that man was saying will understand one very simple trick. Once they change your name, they scatter you. They cannot call them Biafrans. This is the same Delta community that Mzogu came from. The man whose name led the North and the West to conclude that the coup in 1966 was an Igbo coup. Today, his community is called Delta community. Now listen very carefully to this. When they are killing you and you're telling white people, as we do when we go on a diplomatic mission. Oh, I am from Delta. They are killing us. They say, oh, Delta. Oh, where is that? I said, the Niger Delta. The white man or white woman cannot connect the fact that you're from the same community where Murtala Mohammed and Mama Osman Katsina massacred every male child in Asaba. That name has been taken away from you. That Biafra is gone. Igbo is gone. They now call you Delta. Nobody knows what it means. I'm sure now you're following. That was what the man was explaining. By coming to Africa and giving Africans all these very funny, stupid sounding names, they managed to divide them along linguistic, cultural, and ideological lines. These are people that were living to before the white man came. And of course the Fulanis, they took a lot in from Yoruba people. But they never tried they came once and they died and they ran back. But because of your useless nonsense called Nigeria, now they're in Ebonyi killing. If you say, oh, we are Nigerians, we are entitled to take our cattle anywhere we like. Are you not following me? We are entitled to take our cattle. Now, the umbrella of terrorism is Nigeria, providing cover to killers and murderers. And they are the future Nigerian soldiers. And you wake up in the morning, oh, my daughter and my son, this is our Nigeria. Nigeria, I pledge my whatever rubbish to Nigeria. That is why the headsmen can come, kill the man, shoot the daughter, and took his wife into the bush to go and rape. Maybe by the time the wife will be coming back, she'll come back with pregnancy or with one janja wheat. And tomorrow they will name that one maybe Favor or whatever rubbish they will name that one. They name her, if it's a girl, they name her Favor. If it's a man, I don't know, maybe men ask a Favor these days. You know these very funny names we bear now. Favor. And in the next 20 years, they'll open a Facebook. Leave Nigeria alone. No. When I tell you they were fathered by a foreign, you won't agree, but you can see it. Now the wife has been abducted. By the time the wife is coming back, she's coming back pregnant. kill a Fulani man, shoot his daughter, and about, believe you me, the entire Nigerian army, they will wipe out. You see, they said they will kill everyone in Delta State. But out of our stupidity, it is the army. Look at it for your cover. Look at your governors. Look at them. Look at them. Are they now saving you? The same people that told you that IPOB is the problem. And they say IPOB, you want to bring war. Now, Fulani they have not brought the war to you. The war is now at your doorstep. All of them are looking at IPOB. IPOB, please do something. Please do. What are we going to do? What help have we ever given to IPOB before? The wars we are doing and fighting and dying, did you even acknowledge it? Do you know what we are doing? Are you aware of what we are doing? In the north, when Fulani kill people, they say, oh, it's bandits. Now the same Fulani terrorists in our land, they are called cultists. Do you see how foolish people are? And a journalist with conscience will go into his office and write a piece and say cultists invaded police station. Since when did cultists start invading police station in Biafran? Since when? The same way that Fulani terrorists in the north were killing people, pillaging, rampaging, sacking villages. One day they called Yoruba editors, please, help me. We are Osibanjo is there. You don't want to small market for us. Tinubu is going in 2023. Don't small market for us. Make it bandits. They say, bandits in Nasarawa, bandits in Zamfara, bandits in Benue. And all of you swallow this rubbish, hook, line, and sinker. This is sometimes, when I'm traveling, I sit at the airport and I'm looking at us, black people. I keep asking God, what is wrong with these people? Is it deliberate that they cannot reason, or there is a part of the thinking faculty in our brain that is not functioning? What is wrong with us, I ask? Now, in the South, they are called cultists. So you think it is your brother who is an undergraduate that is doing all the killings? There is cultists. When they were even in their own, I give them credit for it. Look at them with AK-47 now. How many cultists have you seen with AK-47 before in Biafran? I'm asking those writing this rubbish. I'll read the news briefly for you so you'll understand the mess you're in. Again, headsmen have killed one man, shot his daughter and abducted his wife after hours of sporadic shooting at Isere Azaba community in Aniocha, Igbo land. North Council area of Delta State. Call it Delta Aniocha. That's the name, Aniocha. They say, I'm not Igbo. The name is Aniocha. Somebody was from Onichubo. You have Onitsha in Anambra State. You have Onichubo again in Ebonyi. I'm not Igbo. I don't know who did this to us. I have no idea. I can't believe that a very great race that built pyramids in the past, a great race that gave the world democracy, a great race that developed writing skills in CBD, a great race that had trial by jury, the finest legal system in the world before the Greeks copied from us, from Biafrans. We have become so stupid. I don't know. I keep wondering, is it the same race of people that God blessed from heaven, behaving so foolishly? You have Umunede and Ibonem. Ibuake, which is Mebanke, they gave to Edo State. So you're telling me today that even if they come today now, you see Anambra, if they got Anambra, you see Obaru area of Anambra, believe you me and Onitsha, if they come tomorrow now, they cast them out and say they're Niger Delta. I am telling you, if you go there the next day, they'll tell you they're from Niger Delta. Have you seen such stupidity? Who are the people to blame? Ohaneze, Pandef, and the so-called governors. Every governor now, as you know why they're quiet as they clean our people. Everybody is hoping that an Fulani person will call them to become VP in 2023. They're not running to become president. No, VP. Vice President. I warned you, they said I was insulting people. That these people you're the Fulani to say to the world, oh, you can see there are terrorists fighting us in the bushes. And there are many things that we are doing that we can't tell you live on air. There are some of you want that information. Before you can support IPOB, you want it. But if we give it to you, you're jeopardizing the work that we are doing. These are the things you ought to understand. These are the things you need to know. Our markets are burning everywhere. There is no compensation, absolutely nothing. Up until when will these things keep happening before we realize that God has given us a way out of the mess we are in? You know, by nature we are not. We used to be very charitable people before, but not anymore. We have people who are from Biafra, should I say, south of the zoo, living in the USA. Some of you are in Europe, you're in Asia. But until your family members are killed, you will never rise up to say, what is happening is very bad. Now, in this very village, Isele Azaba community in Anyota, now I'm sure that in Isele Azaba community in the US, then they will now wake up. They start writing communique. We are not happy. We want to hear this nonsense again. But I was in the US and I told you what was going to happen. I warned you. I gave you, it was 6 years, was it? 6 years I warned you in advance. 6 years, that is how miraculous God is. God in heaven used IPOB, used the microphone he placed in front of me to tell you what was going to happen before. It is not to say all these idiots collecting money from you. Name of miracle. I told you that I described what was going to happen. It's now happening. And they say it's in Delta community. Unbelievable. The government, they struck at night. They came to the community and abducted people, killed them. You will not see Yoruba papers. Yoruba will never. They won't report it. But when the daughter of Fashoranti died, everybody, including myself, everybody was lamenting, complaining. That gave the Yoruba governors the moral impetus to float Amoteku and to also prevail upon Fulani not to stop or do anything foolish with Amoteku. But now they're killing our people. No. Why? Because we live in Lagos and we live in Abuja. Abuja belongs to the Fulani, Lagos belongs to the West, the Yoruba. We have nothing. Everybody runs there. Why do you think that our politicians in all these places, they behave like people who cannot reason properly? We are dying. And don't wait until the death comes to your community before you do anything. We are dying. You must do something now. And what is that thing you're going to do? Of course, it's IPOB. What has I got to do? Who else can stop them if not IPOB? Who has been stopping? If not for IPOB by now, you'll be sleeping, you'll be hearing it in America or in Europe that they have collected your sister or your mother because of IPOB. Yet the amount of opposition we keep getting. I have warned here. Any PG, whatever rubbish they call you, President General, we catch you recruiting anybody for community policing, then you regret your life. There's still time, I will say, they've not killed all of us yet, for people to go and join the nearest IPOB family and do the right thing. Support our effort to defend our land against the vandals from the Sahel. Listen, the same Delta community, this time around in Ethiopia, Eastern government area, they said they saw military men, Janjaweed, the Fulani, in camouflage, bringing supplies to terrorists. Supplies, this is everything I'm telling you is from Nigerian newspapers, not from IPOB. No, never. They were making supplies, the same thing they did to Hausa people in southern Kaduna. Massacred them. That's not what they're doing in our place. Are you hearing them doing this thing in Yoruba land? The answer is capital no, because Yorubas have formed a regional security outfit. And some of you wonder why Lagos after doing errand boy for traitors. They can't be talking rubbish. The right to the world. Before I go to any country, if I announce now I am traveling to Canada, they will write. Some of them are in the US. They write, Nnamdi Kanu is a terrorist. The group was banned by Nigeria. Don't let him in. Don't you know that? Some of you tend to forget the very stringent conditions that IPOB appears to be working under. Despite their designation of IPOB as a terror group, will continue to function. We remain formidable on the ground in Biafra land. What does that tell you? That is the might of this very movement. Of course, all thanks to Elohim in heaven. In our Braka community, Etinopu East government area of Delta State, according to Vanguard newspaper, people have come out to cooperate and said that the army we are supplying the terrorists doing the killing. So they're doing the killings, I should say. Did the channels TV report it? Of course not. How about all the other major Yoruba papers? Oh no, they won't report it. Why are they not reporting it, I ask? Because they want us all dead. All dead. There is only one way out.